Hi, my name is Stan The Annuity Man, America's annuity agent, licensed in all 50 states. Yes, I do sell annuities when they're appropriate and suitable, but we've got to go through some steps before that even happens. Hopefully it's me and you speaking on the phone. You can go to theannuityman.com and get all my books and listen to my podcast called Fun with Annuities. You can schedule a call with me one-on-one where we speak for 30 minutes about you, and then I can get a better understanding of what you need, etc. And by the way, I got this phone. Look, remember the brick phone? You can call me. We can be on I won't be on a brick phone, but I thought that was pretty cool. My producer brought that in. The antenna has seen better days, but do you remember that? I mean, that's old. That's like Miami Vice, Don Johnson. Kids out there going, Miami Vice, what's that? It's a TV show. We all used to watch it, and he's like driving his Ferrari on his brick phone. But the bottom line is we're going to talk about QLACs today and some details that you need to know, because qualified longevity annuity contracts in a perfect world should be the #1 selling annuity type in the annuity world. Of course, they're not even close, because #1 agents and advisors really don't understand it. I had a large bank bring me in recently and to just explain and teach to the advisors what a QLAC was. You would think that would be commonplace because they've been around since 2014. But they're not. They're a low commission product. They're not sexy. There's no moving parts. There's no market attachments. There's no better than sliced bread. There's no little sexy sales pitch. There's no bad chicken dinner seminars being given on QLACs, which is probably the reason you need to know about a QLAC, because it's pro customer. And we're going to talk about all of that after I hit you with this music. Okay, so I wrote the first book on QLACs when they first came out. I'll tell you the story about that. It was kind of cool. I'm in Chicago speaking at an event, and I think that I just remember reading a story on QLACs that they were coming out. And so this is 2014. I wrote the book in a hotel room in Chicago, the first draft of it, with just stuff that I found everywhere, talking to my friends at the Treasury, etc. And you can get that book, the Annuity Owner's Manual, QLAC Owner's Manual, at my site at theannuityman.com. So ever since they were introduced, there's been a mad scramble to buy them at the end of the year. So that you got to have, there's some end of the year rules with QLACs that are pretty weird and funky, and you just have, there's nothing we can do about them. You can't change the rules. It's the IRS and the Treasury Department that introduced QLACs in 2014. But the end of the year rules are very important. So the first thing you need to do is go to my site, theannuityman.com, get quotes, talk to me, etc. But if you do make a decision, that decision needs to be made around November, October or November time period, because the money has to be at the carrier, at the annuity company for the QLAC by December the 31st. And you're saying to me, wait a minute, that seems like a very, very long time. That just sounds like a sales pitch, Stan, that you're just trying to front load all these sales in October and November. No. It has nothing to do with that. Remember that QLACs were put on the planet for lifetime income stream. You can use your IRA or your qualified accounts. The rule at the time of this taping in 2020 is that you can use the lesser of 25% of your IRA assets or $135,000, whichever is less. I said lesser, less. So let's just say it's $135,000 that you qualify for. That $135,000 for your IRA has to be at the carrier by December the 31st. And you say, wait a minute, that still seems, you're saying November, October, November. Remember, we're going to have to transfer, and we're going to take care of that for you. My team is fantastic if you decide to use us for QLACs. The paperwork has to be filled out. The transfer, which is a non-taxable event, let me repeat it, non-taxable event does not trigger taxes. It goes from let's say your IRA is at this firm, and it's going to transfer to this IRA at the annuity company. So it's got to go from here to here. Now, typically that can take as long as a month or more, depending on how slow the transfer process takes from the standpoint of when the money is sent. So to make sure that that all takes place, to make sure that you have your QLAC in place by December the 31st, we really need, November 1st is kind of when we need to get going. So if you're thinking about QLACs for this year, you need to schedule a call now. I know you're saying, hey, it's not October yet. I understand that at the time this is dropping, but you need to start the process to see if it even fits your situation. Now, our staff will take care of the paperwork. We'll track the transfer, the non-taxable event transfer, from start to finish, but you have to give us time to make sure all of that happens, because at the end of the year, everyone's trying to do everything, and the firms are getting overloaded with requests to do end of the year stuff with people's IRAs. So just keep that in mind. So we talked about you have to get the process started, pretty early, October, November time period, to have the money in place by December. But you're going to base your qualification standards on how much money you're going to put into a QLAC on last year's, the previous year's 12/31, December 31st close of your IRA assets. Remember the rule at the time of this taping is the lesser of 25% of all your qualified assets, or $135,000. So you're looking backwards at last year's December 31st close, but we need to get going this year, October, November, to have the paperwork in, to have the transfer done, to have the money at the carrier by December 31st of this year, so that you have your QLAC in place. All right, so now you know the end of year rules for QLACs. And once again, we'll walk you through that. I mean, I'm licensed in all 50 states, represent pretty much every QLAC carrier out there. So interact with me one-on-one. Go to theannuityman.com and set a time with me to talk QLACs. But let's talk about QLACs as a product a little bit, just so that you understand what we're talking about and how the products are designed. I always say, annuities are contracts. I have these signs. I stand at the corner of 5th and Main with this. Annuities are contracts. People driving by, annuities are contracts. And you buy them for the contractual guarantees only. I do that to make sure you understand that QLACs, and annuities in general, but QLACs are contracts. They're not investments. You don't buy them. There's no will do. There's no might do. There's only will do. Always say on an annuity for what it will do, not what it might do. QLACs are 100% will do. And the pricing of the income stream is primarily based on your life expectancy, or life expectancies if joint with a spouse or partner, at the time you take the payment. The older you are, the higher the payment. Sound familiar? Yeah, because that's the same analysis used with Social Security, the best inflation annuity on the planet. Look at QLAC the same way. The older you are when you turn on the income stream, the higher the payment. So if you wait till age 85 to turn on the income stream with a QLAC, it's going to be the highest payment. If you turn it on at 75 or 80, the 75 is going to be less income stream than if you turn it on at age 80. Why? Because you are younger, right? The other thing too is with QLACs, you can set them up for your life or joint life. If it's just on your life, that payment's going to be higher contractually than if it's joint life. Why? Because the annuity company only has to cover one life if it's single life as compared to joint life. Just use your common sense on this. And these are commodity quotes. Just understand that we have to shop all carriers. I get a call the other day from my friend Chester, and Chester goes, well, what's the best QLAC? I mean, I'll look at it, but what's the best one? I don't know that until we run the quote. And if anyone says a carrier name behind that statement, that means they either don't represent everybody or they don't understand that annuities are commodity products. Just understand that annuities are like a gallon of milk. Did I say gallon of milk? Annuities are like a gallon of milk. Why do I have a gallon? Because they expire every 7 to 10 days. And you have to requote them. And when I say expire, I mean that if you don't have your paperwork at the carrier, application at the carrier, within those 7 to 10 days of locking in that quote, then we have to requote it. That's okay, but don't do what Chester's done in the past and go, well, you quoted me that QLAC about 2 months ago. That's the one I want to do, that one at the top. It doesn't work like that, Chester. Annuities, QLACs, they're like a gallon of milk. So that doesn't mean you have to make a decision immediately. All that means is that understand we might have to requote the product for you as you're making your decision. Okay, so we covered a lot of rules about QLACs, end of year rules, and I would encourage you to go to my site, theannuityman.com. I've written a lot of articles on QLACs. I've done podcasts on QLACs. By the way, my podcast is called Fun with Annuities. Yes, it's fun. But I would encourage you to connect with me one-on-one. This is your money. This is serious. I know there's a lot of do-it-yourselfers out there, and I want you to do it yourself up to a point, but that point is at the end, run it by me so that I can say, and I'll shoot it straight. If you haven't caught that yet, I will tell you the truth. I will tell you the brutal truth and the facts about all things annuities, especially when it comes to placing annuities for income. You need to make sure that you're quoting all carriers. You understand that quotes are commodities, they're like a gallon of milk, but connect with the #1 agent, America's Annuity Agent, to make sure that you're setting it up right, structuring it right, so that you can take care of you and your family. So with that, hit the subscribe button. I'll see you on the next Stan the Annuity Man video. Hey, oh, by the way, my producer's like, you pointed to this, which is kind of the Annuity Man superhero thing that I've got going on. If I took off the shirt, there's this big A here. What I was wanting to do is will do. Remember, you own an annuity for what it will do, not what it might do. See you next time.